Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video of the Azimuth. Today I want to talk about spawn campers. And the reason why I absolutely despise spawn campers. I hate spawn campers. Because effectively what it is it's one team that camps the spawn and it gives them such a massive advantage because not only is the spawn protection really bad in this game, it only lasts for 10 seconds, 5 seconds between that, but the areas where you spawn are, they're not bad, but they're not exactly the best places. They're not protected from people who can shoot in the spawns. I think the maps need to be completely redone to protect the spawns, but also increase the spawn protection radius so that when people try and spawn camp you, say they drive into your spawn, you die from the spawn protection. That does work, but I think the radius should be increased. Another way is if you shoot somebody who is in their spawn, you die or you take damage. So, for example, say you shoot somebody and you should have done 140 damage to them. Instead of them taking 140 damage, you take 140 damage because they are within their spawn. Now, of course people are going to exploit this, but maybe you can do it so where say there's a 30-second delay where somebody spawns and the timer starts to count down, but within that time, if you shoot somebody who is within their spawn, you take damage instead of them taking damage, so it kind of protects people. Also, I really do think that the spawn areas should have better protection so people cannot exploit the living crap out of this game. For example, on Factory, people can hide behind buildings and spawn camp the crap out of the enemy. It's such an unfair advantage, and I think it should be dealt with. This is just so ridiculous. Another thing I want to talk about is a lot of people were saying that the KV-122 is overpowered, and a lot of people say that the KV-122 has a 152mm gun. It's a 122mm M30, which is, shockingly, to most people who don't have a brain, it's the same gun as on the SU-122. The difference is that the KV-122 takes 6 seconds more to reload. It has really bad church thrust at 6 degrees a second. It has pretty awful hold thrusts. It can go pretty quick forward, but you're only going to meet that speed going downhill. No joke. You can't reach that speed. Even on flat terrain, you can't reach that speed. Even on a concrete road, you cannot reach that speed. The speed I've only been able to get up to is 35. You physically cannot reach that speed on flat. You just can't do it. I don't know exactly what is overpowered about this tank. I think everybody's just bitching with the fact that it has a 122mm gun that can, when it pens, it one shots. Not all the time. It doesn't one shot all the time. But when it does, it's really satisfying. And then the person complains and say, "It's the way." People like that should just leave the game and never play again because they're whiny bitches and whatever. But this spawn camping rubbish has to stop. It's just driving everybody mad. It's driving me crazy. I just every time I spawn in, there's always 2 or 3 enemies that are just sitting there and waiting. The worst map for spawn camping has to be Ruined City. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. It is so bad. And the thing is that you would expect, the open area to be, the place where you get spawn camped a lot. It's not. It's actually the city. You're gonna get spawn camped so badly, um, unless you can overpower the enemy team. And if you can overpower the enemy team, then great. But if you can't, you're gonna get spawn camped to death, and they're gonna win the game every single time. It is so one-sided. It is horrifically one-sided. The only map that I feel is balanced-ish is Morning River, Morning Forest River. I think that's what it's called. Um, but I wish that they would just fix. Yeah, Morning River. I wish they would fix this spawn camping. It is such a huge problem. Um, and the other thing is, please stop complaining about the KV-122. I know it's a premium tank, but just shut up about it. Seriously, just shut your mouths. It's not overpowered. It's a balanced vehicle. It has pretty crap armor. It has the same armor as the KV-1S. People don't call that overpowered. The reason why they don't call it overpowered is because it doesn't have this meaty 122mm gun. That's why they don't call it overpowered. The KV-1S, the Tech Tree one, has the same mobility. It has, I think it has faster turret traverse. KV-1S. Yeah, it has nearly double the turret traverse. So yeah, I mean, this thing is balanced. 25-second reload is a painful reload. But when you reload, you actually have to aim for weak spots with this gun. Shockingly as it is, you have to aim for weak spots. If it's a T-34, aim for the upper plate, boom, dead. Trickier tanks like the Hetzer, you have to aim for the low plate. And if you pen that low plate, it's a one-shot, boom. The E10, you physically cannot one-shot. You will not one-shot an E10 from the front. It's a weird fucking tank, but you will not one-shot the E10 for some reason. 60mm. Yeah, that would explain why. Because it goes up to 100. It goes over 130, which is the pen threshold of the KV-122. Also, another tank that I find which is horrifically unbalanced is this thing, which would you really call it unbalanced? Probably not, but at the same time, I mean, this thing reloads in 7.5 seconds for 105. This thing is a nerf because I was in one game and a guy owned this tank. And he got like 8 kills before he died in this thing. This thing is ridiculously overpowered. Either make it more expensive or nerf it. Do something with it. It is horrifically unbalanced. The KV-122 is ridiculously expensive. If I'm correct, it was about 900. Which is ridiculously expensive. Sorry for that forest break. But people calling it overpowered, just shut up. Just seriously, shut up. If you want to call a tank overpowered, SU-122, which uses the same bloody gun, that's overpowered for 19-second reload. That thing is horrifically overpowered. This thing, do you really need to have, you need to be a little bit more careful in this thing because, if another KV-122 or an SU-122 comes on the corner, they can pen here, just to show you, they can pen here with heat, they can pen here, they can pen that, which is shocking. They can pen that. They will pen your front. The only areas that I would say that they can't pen is the sloped areas, because that goes up to like 180 and 190. But other than that, this thing is not overpowered. For some reason, like if you like that, the amount of times I've had people shoot here and it hasn't done any damage whatsoever. I'm thinking, are these tracks counted as spaced armor, or something here is counted as spaced armor? Something is going on here, because people should easily be able to shut up there. Should easily be able to overmatch that. But yeah, this thing isn't overpowered. It really is not overpowered. You know, it uses the same gun as the SG-122, which is the 122mm M30. Some people have said that it's 152 M10. No, it's not, because if it was the M10, it wouldn't have a muzzle brake, and it would be a lot bigger, and it would have a far longer reload. But yeah, this is the 122mm M30. You are never, ever going to one-shot somebody that has spaced armor. For some reason, you can never ever one-shot an E10, which I find to be fair, really, because you know, the sloping of the angle is really high, and it's over 130mm of effective armor, which the shell on this tank, the HE is absolutely rubbish. It's rubbish. I think that they should fix HE. Sorry, the heat is the shell you want to go. 140mm a pen. It used to be 130, but they buffed it to 140. You know, 10mm buff. It needed it because, well, I say it needed it. I just feel like ever since they've buffed the heat round, it's just made it worse. It's just made it not much worse, but it's a little bit worse. Like you know, I've noticed I can't one-shot tanks as easily. Of course, if this thing was able to one-shot every single time, it would just become boring and everything like that. But your T-34s are a bit tricky. You're not always gonna you know, you're not always gonna one-shot a T-34. You know, T-34, 57. If you look at its armor, if you hit like here and here, you're not gonna one-shot it. But if you get the lucky shot and you pen here, by God, he's gonna go bang. He's gonna explode. But the biggest bane to the KB122 is this thing. This thing just laughs in the face of the KB122. It really does. If you can pen this, which it would be pretty difficult. But if you get like the side armor of this thing, you want to shoot the back. You really want to shoot the back. If you get the rear turret, then shoot the rear turret. But if you get the front, probably shoot here. Shoot the turret ring. You're probably gonna kill it there. But yeah, you know, that is a very tricky shot. But if you can hit it, then you're probably gonna one shot him. Heavy armor plate. I mean, you can possibly hit the gun mantlet. That may do something. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, everybody calling this thing overpowered. Just, I've just gotten sick and tired of it. You know, I've gotten so much hate playing this thing. You know, people, you know, just being so aggressive against, you know, towards me. This thing isn't overpowered. It's actually rather balanced. You know, the mobility isn't the best. The turret throw is horrendous. The gun depression is horrendous. The shell velocity is meh. 335, I think. Yeah, 335 with the heat. 550 with the HE. Don't know why you would use the HE. You know, I've used the HE even against the flak bus, and it does practically nothing against the flak bus, which is ridiculous. But yeah, biggest problems is spawn camping, that has to be fixed as soon as possible because it's just murdering games. Like, you would join a game that has, like, say 11 or 12 people, and then, one team starts to spawn camp the other team. That team then starts to leave. The other team, which starts to get bored because there's not enough enemies, then starts to leave. It becomes a stale, dead server. Then they leave, they join another game, they make that game stale and boring, and it's just gonna get out of control after a while. It's just ridiculous. It really is just ridiculous, and I think it needs to be addressed. I know they're working on something else which I will not explain about unless I get you know permission from the owner. But in the Discord, everyone knows about the two new things which have been showcased. In the showcase or whatever the channel's name is called. But yeah, the two biggest things is people bitching about this tank. Just shut up. Honestly, just shut up. It's not overpowered. This thing actually takes brains to use. I'm not even joking. The last game, KV-1S, right? Fighting against KV-1S, which same armor and everything. Comes around the corner at that angle, which is, a respective, 100 millimeters. And I shot here, and it didn't pen. Which, hey, whatever. It's not gonna pen, it's not gonna pen. But what I'm shocked about is the KV-122 actually has rather rubbish HP. It's just a terrible hit point pool. I have not seen any other tank. Oh, hello. Oh no, I have not seen any other tank that has a HP pool. A tank of tier 2. We are comparing heavy tanks to tier 2 here. I've not seen any other tank of tier 2, a heavy tank of tier 2, that has a HP pool as low as that. 205, that's the lowest. So, also, huge weak spot on top. It's only 30 millimeters. You can pen that easily with any tank. I've had tier 1 pen that. So, I mean, people calling this thing overpowered. Honestly, I'm trying not to be rude here, but they have no brain cells. They really have no brain cells. This thing is not overpowered. It actually takes skill to use, because you have a 25-second reload. You have really bad shelf velocity, 335. You actually have to aim the gun up quite high just to loop it over and hit the other tank. You also have horrific turret traverse. You have the armor isn't great, but it's not bad. The armor isn't bad. You are going to get the occasional bounce, but when you come across something which is primarily German, they're going to overmatch your armor every single time. Flakbus, you will not angle against Flakbus. He will overmatch your armor every single time. Even angle like that, for some reason he can pen. Unless he hits my turret. I think he hits my turret. But yeah, people calling this thing overpowered are just, well, to be honest, they're stupid. They're really, really stupid. And I know it's unfair saying it, but I've just gotten so much hate from people. It's just been absolutely ridiculous by how much hate I've gotten by just playing the game. By playing the fucking game. I've been playing the game and people have been shitting on me. Is that how people are going to end up in this game? Just being a bunch of salty tards? Because it's ridiculous. It is so rude. It's so rude. When you sit there for 25 seconds reloading, you pop out, you take a shot, and then somebody, you know, just goes all out ham on you. And I know there's a filter on Roblox, but people found out how to say some certain words differently. And it's just, it is utterly ridiculous that people have the audacity to call a tank which is clearly not overpowered, call it the most overpowered tank in the game. It is not the most overpowered tank in the game. If you want a ridiculously overpowered tank, SU-122 is better than the KV-122. It really, I'm not joking, it is better. Even though it doesn't have a turret, it's low profile. It's got a faster reloading gun. It's got the same shells, but it's got a faster reloading gun. It's lighter. It's, it may not have, the same gun depression, only 3 degrees, but you are more maneuverable. Far more maneuverable. 54 kilometers an hour compared to your 43, which unfortunately you will never meet in the KV-122 unless going downhill. So, people are just so rude. Not all people. I've met a lot of nice people in this game. They're genuinely nice people. They're really nice to talk to. But you do come across the total assholes in this game. They will be total asses. If you play in the KV-122, or if you play in the E10, or the Panzer SFL-4B, or, any other premium tank, they will attack you, they will call you names, they will be violent towards you. Because all you're doing is playing the game. Yeah. The people are such assholes in this game. And I don't think that those type of assholes are from the Discord server. I think all the genuinely nice people are from the Discord server. All the assholes come from outside. They are genuinely the rudest people that you can ever come across. And every time I'm playing this tank, there's always somebody which is going to just bitch on about this tank being overpowered. It's not an overpowered tank. It is a balanced tank. It struggles to get uphill. It gets caught on terrain. It can barely turn its hull. The turret is sluggish. The gun takes forever to raise and drop. The shells are not the best. The reload is terrible. This thing is giant. It doesn't have the best armor. Yes, max speed is 43, but you will never reach that speed on flat terrain. You will only reach that speed going downhill. And people do not realize that because they have not played the tank. Yes, you will get matches where you will do well, but you've got a 25-second reload. That's nearly half a minute just to reload this gun. Now, I'm not asking for this tank to be buffed. I'm not asking that at all. I'm asking for all the assholes out there to shut up and give the people that own this tank a break, because it's not fair that people own this tank. They get blasted by people who are the saltiest bastards on this planet, who think they have the right to make fun of people that have this tank. They just want to play the game with this tank. That's all they want to do. They want to play the game. Just leave them alone. Leave me alone. I want to play the game in a tank that I enjoy. Yes, I may have 454 kills in this tank. Yes, that may be a little bit, Some people can say, oh, you're playing the tank a bit too much. But hey, I enjoy the tank. I enjoy the tank because it fits my playstyle. I don't enjoy tanks like I've tried to play the BT7 F32. I can't enjoy it. I cannot enjoy it. It's just impossible to enjoy. I like the KV-122 because it fits my playstyle, not because it's an overpowered tank, because it fits my playstyle. It's a good tank for me. For other people, it won't be a good tank. It won't feel good to them. They would like to use tanks like, for example, the E10, which is fine. The E10 isn't overpowered. It's a maneuverable tank. It is very small, but it doesn't have the best armor. It really doesn't have the best armor. I just don't know why people call it overpowered. Really, I just. I had to make this video because it was getting out of hand. But the spawn killing, or the spawn camping, has to stop. Because it's just making games boring. People just leave because they get bored and they get sick and tired of constantly leaving spawn. And then, a few meters away from spawn, they die. They spawn again, drive a few meters, die. It's not fun. It is boring gameplay. It's stale. It is just such a ridiculously boring tactic. It's ridiculous. It's just. I honestly don't know. I mean, I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm just getting sick and tired of people, spawn camping all the time. A lot of people in the comment section are just gonna complain, saying, "Oh, well, you should have a better team." No, you should at least have some brains. Move away from the spawn. Give us a better room so we can move about, instead of being a bunch of idiots and sitting next to our spawn. And you get their total assholes that think, "Oh, I'm gonna drive into their spawn." And then they die, and then they whine saying, "Oh, I died from a landmine." Of course you're going to die from a landmine, because that's the spawn protection, you total div. Total bloody idiots in this game. And not all people are idiots. You get a lot of people which pull off the most ridiculous things. 1 versus 5, and then that person comes out top. Because they've used their brain, they've used tactics, they've used, they've used the strengths of their tanks, and they've cancelled out the weaknesses of that tank. And it really is absolutely amazing to watch this, unfold at times. When you see somebody who plays the tank to its absolute limits, and they come out on top. But when you get a game full of absolute prickles which do nothing but complain and complain and complain, it makes you leave. It makes you not want to play the game. I just don't feel like playing this game anymore because it's full of absolute assholes. Every once in a while, I'm going to come across a game where you get a game full of really lovely people, where you can actually have a decent conversation while playing the game. And, you kill them with this tank and they say, "Oh, GG." And they know that the tank's got a really long reload. They know that it's not always going to pen. It's going to do, splash damage, but it's not always going to pen. They know that it's got horrible church verse. But at least they will not make fun of you for playing the tank. They will not attack you. They will not say nasty things about you. And those people I commend. I really do. Because those people actually do research. They go into the research bureau or the research tech tree. They look at the tank and then they compare that tank to the SU-122 and then think, hang on a minute. They use the same gun. But the KV-122 has a 6-second long reload, plus it has horrific touch first, It doesn't have the best mobility, blah 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 blah. So it is a balanced tank. They don't call you out in chat and call you horrific names and attack you because those people have not done the research. Those people are typical assholes that deserve not to play this game. That's my opinion. That is purely my opinion. Put your opinions in the comment section below. But the two biggest things that need to change is one, spawn camping has to be eliminated. It really has to be eliminated because I know every game's going to suffer from it. But if this game is going to survive, well, not survive, but if this game is going to at least do well, spawn camping has to be eliminated. They have to make it so that spawns are protected. Or, for example, when I explained one of the ways that you can do this is when somebody spawns in, they have, say, a 30 or a minute protection, spawn protection, where if an enemy shoots them, they don't take damage, but the enemy takes damage. That would be a brilliant way of at least not getting rid of spawn camping, but it would at least help it. By God, it would. It would stop these total pricks from just sitting around like a building or something. They pop out, they shoot somebody that's just spawned in, they kill them, they go back, they wait for somebody else to spawn, they come out, they shoot them, they kill them. It's not that's just not fun. It really isn't fun. That is a boring way to play. They may think it's fun, they may think, oh yes, I'm getting all the credits and all the experience, but what they don't take into consideration is the people that they're killing. Those people are getting so frustrated, they are getting so annoyed with the fact that there's this absolute crazy, ridiculously cancerous team which is camping the enemy team spawn, and B, are being total jackasses by not moving away from the spawn. It's not fun. It really isn't fun. It needs to be addressed. And I'm not. I really am not pointing fingers at anybody. But what I am saying is anybody who does spawn camping, I personally will not spawn camp. I think it's wrong. It's not exciting. It gives you such an unfair advantage, and it makes the battle so stale. I think that the most exciting part of the battle is when you all meet in the middle and you start shooting each other, and that's really exciting. When it becomes stale is when one team deliberately blocks off all the exits from the other team's spawn, and they just spawn camp the crap out of them. That's unfair. It's not fun. It gives them such a ridiculously unfair advantage. It needs to be addressed. It really does need to be addressed. And of course, the other thing is people need to stop whining about the KV-122 because it's not overpowered. It really isn't. It's got a 6-second longer reload. It's got terrible church first. It's got terrible hold first. It's not always going to get up to the 43 kilometers an hour. It's only going to get up to that speed when you're going downhill. So I don't know really. To be honest, I just think that people would just accept that they've been, they've either been damaged or they've been one shot by KV-122. They should accept that. If I'm one shot by a KV-122 or an SU-122 or something like that, fine. I've been one shot. I should have, used my binoculars. A lot of people do not press Q to use their binoculars. You press Q to use your binoculars. Look, I'll get help out here. Right Click is scope, obviously everybody knows that. C is free cam. You actually have to hold C down. Q is for binoculars. E is to spot. Tab is for player screen. You know the scoreboard. R is to press and hold to reset. That's another thing that annoys me is when you're about to kill somebody, they reset themselves. It's such a cowardly way to go out. It really is. V is to crew position camera. T is to allow players to tell you. Y is to hold to two players who have the T above them. You know, no one checks this. It's so. It's just. It's ridiculous. It is utterly ridiculous. You know, to be honest. And I just I just wish people would be more, you know, well, I just wish people would be less toxic in this game, to be honest. I really do wish that. You know, spawn camping is the #1 thing that causes toxicity in this game. It really is. You know, it will make a lot of people toxic. They'll get really, really annoyed. That will feed into other people. That will make them toxic, and it will just be in a circle of self-destruction, really. And it just destroys the server. Then they move on to the next server. They're already annoyed. They're already frustrated. And that frustration then flows into the other people. They start to get frustrated, and it just starts a chain reaction. It needs to be fixed. It really does. They need to do something. They need to fix spawn camping because it's just such an unfair way to win. It really is. It's an unfair, and quite frankly, it's a cowardly way to win. If you're going to spawn camp, you're a coward. You really are a full-blown coward. And you know, most likely I'm gonna get a lot of hate from this, but hey, who cares? At least I'm, you know, making this video and I'm putting this out there. You know, spawn camping is just a disgusting way to win. It really is. You know, a lot of people have said, "Oh well, it's in the game," blah blah blah. Yes, it's in the game, but that doesn't mean that you exploit it. Because even when you exploit it, yes, you may be getting enjoyment out of it, but maybe just stop and think for a second. The other team, they're not enjoying it. They are not enjoying it. They are frustrated with the fact that it's being spawn camped. They are annoyed with the fact that they are not getting any pleasure out of it. They are just getting frustrated. And it needs to be addressed. It really does need to be addressed. And people keep, please shut up about the KV-122. It's not overpowered. It really is not overpowered. Just because there's a premium tank doesn't mean you call it overpowered. It really isn't. And you know, people who say it's got 152, do your bloody research. Do your fucking research. You are so stupid if you're gonna say it's got a 152. It says it in the name. If it had a 152, it would be KV-152. But it's not, it's KV-122. So that means it's got a 122mm gun. Right, so that wraps up this video. I'll probably do another video soon. I do apologize if I've been away for a long time. I just, you know, haven't had the energy to make a video. You know, I've just been, you know, keeping away for a long time. You know, just doing stuff really. And I know a lot of you in the Discord server have been wanting me to do a video, but I just have not had the energy to do a video. So yeah, I just wanted to put this video out because it's gotten out of hand. It really has gotten out of hand. Every single game I join, there's always one team spawn camping another team. And it's ridiculous. It is utterly ridiculous. Anyway guys, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.